Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News Daybreak at 6.
A debate over shelters meant to keep people warm on Charlotte's coldest nights. New this morning, the concern some leaders are raising about the county's involvement.
And let's take a live look this morning over Charlotte, where it is hovering right at freezing, but we've got a beautiful shot this morning of uptown. We'll pinpoint when the rain will be moving in just ahead of a warm-up. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Paul.
And I'm Brittany Johnson. It is now 6 o'clock. Speaking of rain, let's talk to meteorologist Keith Mundy and Severe Weather Center 9 with your first weather. We have just a little time, a break here.
Yeah. We have more clouds coming in today, but it is going to stay dry today, so that is good. We just have the issue of a chilly morning out there for now. Some 20s have been out there overnight because we had a clear sky, but now the more clouds are coming in. We've actually warmed up about 5 degrees just in the last hour and a half in Charlotte. It's 34 also in Rock Hill, 27 though in Albemarle, 26 into Salisbury. The mountains are warming up above freezing, and that's good because there will be some moisture that comes into the mountains later this morning. Should just be some very light rain. As we head our way through the rest of the day, everybody else just gets the cloud cover to move in around 40 by 9 o'clock. We're back to near 60 this afternoon. Even though the cloud cover is going to thicken up. We'll talk about that a little bit today here in the next 10 minutes and how we all have a much better shot. Maybe some heavier downpours coming in for tomorrow. Now let's get you on the roads here at 6 o'clock. What's going on, Mark?
Looking back northwest Charlotte, where that railroad maintenance continues this morning. We saw it cause big problems yesterday morning. It's going to be the same today. Looking live right now. This is Roslow's Ferry Road out towards Honeywood Avenue near 85, where the right now you see the road closed signs are up. I have asked exactly when they expect to have this reopen. I'm waiting to hear back from CSX. In the meantime, your alternate route is taking the Brookshire in instead of using Roslow's Ferry. Here's where it's happening at Honeywood. It's just past 85. Now, if you're traveling Brookshire in the next couple of minutes, we're in the green, looking great. From Mountain Island Lake to Uptown, it's just 13 minutes with an average speed of 51 miles per hour. Brittany.
Breaking overnight, police are searching for a gunman who shot a man in East Charlotte.
Eyewitness News anchor Blaine Tolles is in the breaking news center for us this morning to explain just how this unfolded. Blaine?
Police say two men who just met began fighting. Our crew was at the apartment complex on Electra Lane right after the shooting about 11:30 last night. Now, we saw a busy crime scene. Police talking to people in the complex is right off East Independence Boulevard near Idlewild. Most of the investigation focused inside an apartment building where you can see some crime scene tape was up across the entrance. Police say that there was a group of people in the apartment here in an argument between two men. The victim took off after shooting, or the suspect took off after shooting the victim. Police say they know who the suspect is. They haven't said who that person is, but they are trying to make an arrest. We're asking how the victim is doing this morning, and we'll have more when we learn more, John.
All right, Blaine. Tonight, Mecklenburg County leaders will debate if and when they should open warming shelters during the winter.
The debate first started last month when temperatures, you all remember, they were dipping into the low teens. Eyewitness News reporter Gina Esposito is live to explain each side of this debate.
Well, these doors right here at the Grady Cole Center only opened as an emergency shelter for a few nights last month, despite 22 days being below freezing. Now, under the current rules, an emergency shelter will only open if there is a sustained wind chill of 10 degrees for 24 hours or no room at a current shelter. Now, Mecklenburg County commissioners are now looking at changing that policy, which may include a new protocol for opening a county-run shelter. County Commissioner Jim Puckett said he isn't sure about a county shelter operating full-time, but he did say he's up for tweaking guidelines on the warming shelter so it can be available to more people on bitter cold nights.
So clearly the policy needs to change if it forbids us from helping people when there is a crisis.
Now, when the Grady Cole Center did open as an emergency warming shelter, 140 to 190 people slept here at the same time other local shelters had to implement their overflow policies. Here live in Elizabeth, I'm Gina Esposito, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Channel 9 will monitor developments out of tonight's debate, and we will bring you the very latest tonight at 10 and 11. Turning to a story that impacts your money. Stock futures are bouncing back up a little bit after the largest one-day drop in history. The Dow is up 22 points. The Nasdaq is up 47. They have been bouncing around all morning. So, of course, we're going to keep an eye on this. We'll continue to monitor the market. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Channel 9 will break down what the slump means for you and what you should do now.
Employers have 9 days left to make tax withholding changes under the new tax overhaul. Those dictate just how much is withheld from your paycheck. We've told you that employees, including some around Charlotte, are already seeing bigger paychecks. The tax plan puts more money into people's pockets by limiting how much employers can withhold from your paycheck for federal taxes. However, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper is urging businesses to speak up against further income tax cuts in an effort to protect schools. Cooper says individual and corporate taxes have already been reduced. He says more cuts could create budget shortfalls for education programs. He says the business community needs to lobby the GOP-controlled legislature to prevent the cuts.
Now that the NFL season is officially over, Panthers fans are anxious to find out who will buy the team during the offseason.
We're all curious about this. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Barber's live for us outside of Bank of America Stadium as we've been asking about behind-the-scenes negotiations. Mark?
And John, now that that Super Bowl is over, this sale could come at any time. When the new owner takes over, that person could very well ask the taxpayers here in Charlotte to help pay for an entirely new stadium or to help pay for renovations right here to the 21-year-old stadium of Bank of America here in Uptown. Now, last week, we learned that there are at least 6 groups trying to buy the Panthers. 4 of them are outside the state. The other 2 groups are local. One of the Charlotte businessmen involved in the bid, Felix Sabates, told Channel 9 this week he still cannot comment on the status of the sale. We talked with another man named Patrick Rishi, a sports business expert based in St. Louis, about the Panthers. Even though some bidders might be interested in trying to relocate the team, Rishi believes the Panthers will stay here.
I don't believe there's any other market out there right now that would be a good fit for pro football.
And he tells Channel 9 that those local bidders have an advantage over those outside groups because they don't need to try to come in and learn that market. Live here outside Bank of America Stadium in Uptown, Mark Barber, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Panthers owner Jerry Richardson announced plans to sell the team last year amid allegations of workplace misconduct. Last week, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said the league's investigation is ongoing and says the Panthers are fully cooperating.
Tonight, there will be a second meeting about changes to Highway 73. The DOT wants to widen Sam Furr Road between Huntersville and Denver. It is part of the same plan that would create this new traffic pattern called a split diamond. Crews would add new lanes to Sam Furr Road as well as 2 new bridges with roundabouts at I-77. During the first meeting last night, one man told us the project would cut into his property.
You know, it's kind of disappointing. Spend your whole life working towards something and they're just going to come in and take it.
I think it has some promise. I have some big concerns about the roundabouts being large enough.
Now, you can give your feedback on the project at tonight's meeting. It is from 4 to 7 o'clock at East Lincoln Community Center. That's on Optimist Club Road in Denver.
6:06, this year's flu season is one of the deadliest ever. We asked Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools what it's doing to combat the virus, and it says it did send information about flu precautions home to parents. It didn't tell us, though, how many students have been out sick with the flu, saying the district doesn't track why a student is absent. CMC says around this time last year, though, about 5% of Carolina's healthcare system patients were there for flu-like illnesses, and this year it is up to 9%. Last year saw a spike in cases in late February and early March. Well, this year it started much earlier, but officials say they have seen an increase in virtual visits where patients can use video chat with a provider. The flu is widespread across every state except Hawaii right now, and again, flu season still has not peaked. There have been 95 reported flu deaths in North Carolina, and in South Carolina there have been 84.
Channel 9 checked overnight, and police are still searching for a gunman who shot a woman in front of her 6-month-old. You can see in this video here where officers comforted the baby outside of the apartment on Wexford Lane yesterday. Police say the shooter kicked in the door expecting to find someone else, but opened fire anyway. Neighbors are grateful the baby wasn't hurt.
Could be anyone there. It's just God's grace that the bullet didn't even touch the kid.
The victim is recovering in the hospital. Police say she knew her attacker, but this was not a case of domestic violence.
New for Daybreak, sources say former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon will not appear before the House Intelligence Committee today. That could put him in contempt since he was subpoenaed. If that happens, the House could vote to seek criminal charges. Well, last night, the committee voted to release the Democratic response to a controversial GOP memo. Now it's up to President Trump whether to approve that release. Democrats say the Republican memo is inaccurate and misleading. It alleges the FBI abused the FISA process in getting a surveillance warrant on President Trump's former campaign advisor.
Today, we will learn more about an event to help families afford a mortgage. The Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America will host an event in East Charlotte on Thursday, starting Thursday and continuing through Sunday. You can apply for the NACA mortgage. It has zero down payment, no closing cost, and a below market fixed rate. Bank of America will help pay for the mortgages, and the city of Charlotte will offer grant money to home buyers. The Achieve the Dream tour starts Thursday at the Charlotte East Business Park on Executive Center Drive. Counselors will work with home buyers from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. Your time is now 6:09. We have weather and traffic every 10 minutes.
Let's get to meteorologist Keith Monday. It's a clear morning out there, but we've got cooler temperatures.
Yeah, that clear sky allowed us to chill down more last night, but now the clouds are already starting to fill back in over the last few hours, and there's a little moisture across the deep south. It's not much, but as that rolls toward the mountains, there was some concern last night for maybe a little bit of icy travel. It hasn't developed up there, but there is still a winter weather advisory for Ashe and Watauga counties till noon. The odds of it moving in before the temps warm up are pretty slim, but something we'll keep an eye on. So while the mountains may get a little light rain at times today, everybody else will see more than just light rain tomorrow. Ahead, we'll show you the futurecast how it's going to head up to a lot more rain again on our Wednesday. Now let's get you back out there on the roads for this morning. What's the latest, Mark?
Well, good news is that overnight construction at closed 85 northbound heading into China Grove has wrapped as we look northbound heading in from Kannapolis northbound towards Highway 152. So some good news there. Again, we'll see that overnight, but for now all lanes are open. And I am noticing some slowdowns now 85 southbound down towards Dale Earnhardt through the construction zone. Not heard of any accidents or stalled vehicles blocking any lanes. Now back in Charlotte, checking into Pittance Boulevard inbound. We're still in the green out of Matthews, heading up towards 277 at 54 miles per hour and just a 12-minute ride. It's a quiet, nice start there. 85 out of Bruton Smith looking good. Just not seeing any slowdowns from folks coming out of Concord, heading south towards the university area as well. John?
Take a look at this. Our cameras caught drivers getting stuck on the wrong side of the light rail crossing gates. There were close calls that we saw, some near crashes at some of the light rail crossings, and the new extension is set to open next month. We found some areas that could put people in danger, so we're asking if some of the existing and the newer ones might need to be changed. Our investigation today at 5 on Channel 9 Eyewitness News.